Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of March 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using the Night Sun Tarot for you today. A little bit of housekeeping before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. The link for that is in the description box. It's number 1. The second link is to the 6-month overviews that I've done for each of the signs. Now they run from January to June, so I have reduced the price accordingly. If you haven't had a chance to check those out yet, now might be a good time. And the third link is to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on Circle. We have, well, you can access all of the extenders there, and we also have incredible chats about very interesting things. So if that floats your boat, do feel free to go and check it out. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you, Aries. Could I have 3 cards for Aries, please? There's the first. We have the 6 of Pentacles in your recent past, and I like that, particularly given the nature of the last 2 or 3 readings that we've done together. It's about time that there was some balance brought to proceedings, and there it seems to be. Tell me about current energy for, thank you. We have the 5 of Swords for your current energy, and what's coming towards Aries, please. Oh, amazing. So we have the Temperance card and the 6 of Cups. Let me flip this around so you can have a look and see what I'm looking at. We've got the 10 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Let me moan and bitch about the fact that these cards aren't straight. There we go. Got it done. Super. And let's get some clarifiers. Yeah, I'll go with you. Right. Why is the 6 of Pentacles here for Aries, please? 6 of Cups with the 9 of Pentacles. Ooh, this is really good. This is really important. Tell me about this 5 of Swords. We have the Emperor. My nose is getting itchy. 5 of Swords. We have the Emperor with the 2 of Cups. And tell me about Temperance, please, and the 6 of Cups. So we've got the 4 of Swords and the 3 of Swords in reverse, very much all speaking to a theme there. One more card for Aries, please. Whoa, okay. So we've got the King of Wands in reverse. We also have the 8 of Pentacles. Ah, love it. At the bottom of the deck we have the Fool. Let's put that where you can see it. So, oh, what an absolute shit show. Right, let me tidy this up. Quite a bit going on for you in March, but that's okay because it's stuff of the good sort, it seems to me. All right. So we start off with the 6 of Pentacles, and like I was saying there at the beginning, like it's nice to see a little bit of balance coming in. Because things have been unbalanced, you know, you have been restricted. It's been difficult to move forwards, even though moving forwards is what you wanted to do more than anything else. Like the energies have kind of kept you where you were so that you could start making sense of things in a way that you hadn't been able to do before. You know, particularly with regard to the past, we've got that 6 of Cups is actually appearing twice here in your reading. So the past is really important. But in such a way, I would say, as to be more like your ability to be able to strip mine the past of information that you can use moving forward, rather than sitting in energies that were created in the past. I'm not sure if I've expressed that correctly, but that's kind of where I'm going with this, right? So that sense where you judge everything in front of you through the lens of what's happened to you in the past. So it's likely that you wouldn't be trusting people, and you certainly wouldn't be showing any kind of vulnerability. And we've got this idea of doing things for doing things' sake, rather than actually sitting still and sitting with whatever comes up for you. You know, this seems to me to suggest that what you've been doing since last we met is working on the things that are coming up from the past, and starting to get a really clear sense of what has been being lost from you energetically. Like the 9 of Pentacles for me talks about good resource management, and this stabilizing effect of the Six of Pentacles is allowing you to see where you have been bleeding out energetically for the longest time. Absolutely has its seat in the past. I mean, it could also have something to do with children, but we're going to stick with the past for now. And it's getting you to a point where there's something canny peaceful about your energy this month, Aries, which is markedly different compared to the last couple of times that I've read for you. I got a lot of frustration. I got a lot of almost at points desperation. And certainly a sense of feeling almost imprisoned and certainly trapped, stuck in a place. You feel to me like you're breathing much more easily now. And it seems like the energy that you have is yours. It's not an echo or a shadow of you. It is you. And there's something very quiet about it. About this Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. We've got the Two of Cups. That's the second time that it's showing up on the... look at this. Second time that it's showing up here. With the Six of Pentacles. Indeed, the second time that is also showing up. So we've got balance coming first and foremost to you. Secondly, to you and from you toward your relationships, right? The way that you show up in relationships seems to me to be being adjusted at this point. But we also have the relationships themselves being highlighted twice. The Six of Pentacles can sometimes talk for a need for things to be balanced out rather than balance itself. But there's such a peaceful energy about you at the moment. I do feel like that's just you. And there's been a lot of an examination of present relationships. We've got that going on here, but certainly past relationships too. If you found yourself defaulting to, well, every person I've ever met's basically been a narcissist and abused me. Commiserations if that is actually true. But there are two sides to every story. I mean, that's what the Six of Pentacles tells us. And in the process of reclaiming our own power, we also have to reclaim responsibility for that which actually belongs to us. And I wonder if you've been doing that here, Aries. It's certainly come up in the last two readings. This kind of burgeoning sense of self-awareness that perhaps you didn't have to quite the same degree before as you have now is now actually helping you look at people differently. It's certainly helping you look at past relationships differently. Like we've all got that one friend, and everybody that friend, has a relationship with turns out to be a fucking psycho, right? And that's fine for a few years, but after about 20 years, you're like, the common denominator in all of these relationships is you. Like, either this dynamic isn't quite what you're making out to be, or, exaggerating for effect and all that kind of thing, or there's something about you that is attracting this kind of person towards you. So how do you go about fixing that? Well, you work on yourself. And that's absolutely where you have been. This is what you've been doing for the last couple of months. And you might not have enjoyed what came out at points. But it's left you feeling so much calmer, so much more peaceful, that I don't think that you'd swap it for the world. And we'll move into your current energy. We've got the Five of Swords. And I was a little bit surprised when I saw it come out as the main card, but then it's underpinned by the Emperor and that Two of Cups again. And I just think that this is, I think this is just a big learning time for you, Aries. I could probably find a better way to express it, but that's essentially it. The cognitive loops that are always spoken about when I see the Five of Swords. I mean, sometimes they can be, verbal sparring, the way that we fight with each other, sometimes the way we fight with ourselves and whatnot. But outside of us, it can be self-sabotage, and it can be Pyrrhic victories and all those kind of stuff, right? Here, there's just one person, and those swords are going right into the back of the head. It's almost like this awkward array of swords would be interfering with the thought processes that are going on here, and certainly how that would be flowing out into the body. I wonder if you're feeling actually physically calmer as well, and perhaps physically better than you have done in a little while. Because if you've removed these swords, right, from right back here, so the energy is now being allowed to flow, there's probably been some tangible improvement in your body too. I just want to point out, when you pull this card right up here, right in the crown of this dude's head, there is an eye. Energy comes in, comes down the body and all that sort of stuff. The swords interfering with it. So this feels much more of a contemplative energy. Almost like every day is a teaching day, because, or every day is a learning day, because you're sitting in this very peaceful place at the moment. Things just keep coming up. And you have the presence of mind to look at it as it actually is, rather than the way that you would normally react to it, which would be to be, fiery. Tell me about this Emperor. It's 2 cups. I think what it's done is it's had the effect of settling your mind down to such an extent that you're now kind of sifting through the people that you know. I be under no illusions, Aries. There's been some sort of ascension and elevation going on here. Like, you kind of pulled yourself out of the crap, and now that you're free of it, certainly, physically, you're at least sitting up on the side. It's like you can see things for what they actually are. You can see relationships for what they actually are. And the funny thing is here, I feel like some of the relationships that you had that you thought were important are actually turned out to be trauma bonds of sorts. And I'm not sure that they fit for you moving forwards. But then there are other relationships that you can appreciate. People who have, exercised good boundaries with you and appreciated your boundaries. Like, you're seeing this new value to them that you didn't quite perceive at the time, or at any time before this. That's 2 cups, please. Yeah, we've got you taking a much more careful approach. You know what you want. I think you know what you want better now more than anything else, and relationships do form a part of that. You want to be supported and supporting, but to the right people. There's a high level of discernment that's coming in here now. Now, most people get things kind of ass backwards when they're trying to work out what's going on, in their wider circle, where they fit in with things. They look around at their friends and they go, oh, well, not their friends, but like the people that they spend time with, and they go, oh, well, that person's really controlling, and that person's got some narcissistic traits, and they pull away from the people because they're looking at all the negative traits of them. But just like I was saying before with, that one friend that everybody knows who's, current partner at any point is the love of their life, and then turns out to be a psycho, and that circle just repeats. The cycle repeats and repeats and repeats. You have to start with you. And going within and sitting with your feelings and whatnot is something that is not comfortable for an Aries to do. But you were forced to do it, and you submitted to that energy, and you did it. And now there's something much wiser coming in instead. Much, much wiser. And like I said, there's been a lot of thought about the way that you show up in relationships, rather than the relationships themselves. That actually is almost secondary to what you're bringing to the table, the way that you conduct yourself. You've grown considerably. And there are some relationships now that do make the grade, and there are lots that don't. And I wouldn't be surprised if you are quietly making a mental list of who you're going to distance yourself from and who you are committed to. So when we get into March, what we've got is the Temperance card and the Six of Cups. Now that's really interesting. Not least because the Temperance card talks about profound healing. Like this is big scale stuff. It talks about balance and moderation, and those are two themes that we've already been dallying with over here. This being minor arcana, this is the things that you are doing to bring balance to your life, right? It's the stuff that you do in the day-to-day. This is an altogether bigger energy. It's a big major arcana energy that sometimes forms the events that we have to react to or respond to. But in this case, it feels like those wings in the Temperance card are coming around you and healing something really quite profound from the past. Now, what is not immediately clear to me, but I feel will be in a second, is why that Six of Cups should appear there again when we've already had it over there. Tell me about the Six of Cups, please. Six of Cups. Got the Empress card. What I'm trying to make sense of is whether this is some new occurrence of a past situation that is coming up, or whether this is something really, really deep. Because the Empress card is the card of the mother, right? It's the archetypal mother in the tarot. There's lots of other things besides. It represents Taurus. It also represents Libra. You know, we have a Venus in there too. And it's about abundance and gratitude and all those kind of things, right? I wonder if this has something to do with your relationship with your mother. That's one way of looking at this. That what comes to you in March is a realization that that relationship was very fractured, and the difficulties that you have had in relationships, the way that you have needed possibly to control everything, stems from this either excessive control during your childhood from a mother or a father, or essentially neglect, because this independent spirit that is present within Aries is partly nature, but a huge proportion of it is also nurture. We've talked about, you know, psychopathic independence, hyper independence, you know. I've shared that with you before in the past. And we know that that's trauma response. And we know that it's one that comes from a distinct understanding that nobody is going to save you. Nobody is coming to help you. You have to do it yourself. Right? And that forges a very, very strong character. Necessarily strong, right? Because it's a survival mechanism. But what you've understood here, and indeed what we've been talking about in the last couple of readings, is that that's a survival mechanism that no longer applies to the life that you are living. You're not under threat in the same way. You're an accomplished adult. You're a competent adult, and you can do all sorts of things. And I feel like there's a push here towards opening up to those people who are important to you, right? Allowing that sense of interdependence. Like, you don't have to be on top. You don't have to be in control all of the time. It gets tiring. It's exhausting. We've talked about that. We've got a much more balanced, empathetic, compassionate, open Aries. That is much more comfortable with the idea of intimacy and the vulnerability that brings than ever we have before. So it feels a lot like this Empress is kind of like the OG, right? This is where we learned all of our stuff from. Now, like I said, I'm not sure if the healing is because there's something that comes up that allows a conversation to occur. I mean, that's not going to be true for all of you, because for some of you, you know, your mother will have passed over and whatnot. But perhaps it's that level of insight that comes. More than that, though, because the Empress talks about abundance and gratitude, the things that we feel really good about, and the prospect of actually gestating something new and birthing that out into the world, there's an element of rebirth going on right here. Like, we've got the Ten of Pentacles, we've got stability and security, but we also have the Aries wandering nature of the Fool appearing here, right? Thus balancing out both of these energies. Archetypal father, archetypal mother. It's like, you know, the naive child going out to wander around. I mean, there's been a lot of energies of child work coming up. But what we've got here is a particular approach that has come from the past, that is being healed. Right? We've got the healing overtly stated here in the Four of Swords. We've got it again with the Three of Swords in reverse. This is a backtrack, though, because if these cards were the other way around, like this, we could say, well, in the first instance, for the Three of Swords to appear in the reversed and mean for me what it does, it has to have shown up in the upright first. So we go from skewered heart, very uncomfortable, very broken, don't like it very much, to this position here, where gravity can start doing the work and help pull the swords out, because the heart will not heal while it's got metal running through it. From there, we come to this point here, where the processing occurs, the rest, the recovery, right? That makes sense. But this actually is a step back. Not in a bad way. I think that this is actually probably really rather good, because you're going from a peaceful and restful place back to the point of healing. What is going on here with you? It's almost like checking in. Are the swords removed yet? Did I get them all? Are there still some that remain? Because your focus seems to be so very much on healing at this point. I don't think that you want to leave anything to chance. And I would almost go as far as to say that in the month of March, you're really not doing very much at all other than working on yourself. Now, this is quite interesting, because right at the end of March, I thought it was the 26th, but I heard some astrologers say that it was the 22nd of this month. We have got Pluto moving into Aquarius. Now, whenever there's a big outer planetary shift like that, and particularly when it's Pluto, who is specifically concerned with transformation, regeneration, destruction, and then creation, it seems to me like this whole month is spent in contemplation, either of your relationship with your mother, right, and what that means, and what it's meant for your identity all the way along the line. Your relationship with abundance generally, and how you feel about that. I mean, when it comes to abundance and success, have you made this part of your personality in a way that you didn't need to? That's possible. We see that with a lot of signs. I've been guilty of it myself in the past too. It doesn't make for a very comfortable life. Because you're never satisfied with everything. You've got to keep going and keep going and keep going. Like, it's always got to be about the new thing, you know. And it sometimes translates in that energy where really things are really, really hard, and it's like, well, I just need to limp to this bit here and then it'll be fine. And then you get there and it's still not fine. Like, the things haven't healed, everything's still challenging, everything's still difficult, and you're like, fuck, I thought it was supposed to be easier here, right? Well, if I just go there. And whether that's, you know, a temporal consideration in so much as, well, this time next year everything is going to be much, much better because I'll have got over this, or whether it's geographic, or whether it's something to do with your position in work or something like that. It's almost like this is the last piece of the puzzle, that you need to bring some really intense healing to you. Look at that, we've got the Ten of Cups sitting behind the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is about mental restriction. It's about not being able to see a way out. We've got the family. Oh, look at that now. We've got the Ten of Swords underneath the Ten of Cups and the Eight of Swords. If for some of you there is a threat, there has been a threat within the family unit. Are you talking about going really deep? I mean, Aries, this is really, really deep. You know, perhaps why you haven't been able to settle things with things, or why the family has been such a painful source of lessons for you. I feel like you're getting to grips with it this month. And even if it's not your mother, like I said, is it your success? Is it your abundance? Is it whether you allow yourself to be content? Is enough ever enough? You know, even the way that I've put these cards, this Eight of Wands, this Eight of Pentacles rather, wants to sit there with the Three of Swords. I mean, this is a process. If the healing were completed, this wouldn't need to show up at all. But we've got that angel right there, ready to bring healing to the deepest places of you. But you need to commit to it. Seeing this here, it is very important that you commit to this. Particularly if you are revisiting old relationships in your mind and applying what you've understood to the newer relationships that are in your life that you want to stay. This is not a month for action, interestingly enough. Like I was saying about that Pluto shift, there's a transformation going on here, and you will come out the other side as the Fool. But this month is a month to be really consistent and diligent with yourself, right? Making sure that you're paying attention, being very self-aware to whatever is going on with you. Wherever you feel mentally stuck or mentally trapped, or wherever the discomfort arises. Because the ultimate aim of this is to make you function much more comfortably within a group, within your tribe. Instead of having this association that you do with, say, perhaps interdependence, meaning that you are somehow weak. You know, if I've known quite a few Aries, and the one thing that I resonate with really, really hard as a Leo is this sense in Aries that we're the ones who have to get the jobs done. When everything is really hard and everybody else is falling apart, it is always us who stand up and do the things. And it doesn't matter how much we're falling apart inside, right? There's that sense of duty because we've got to be in charge and we've got to do X, Y, and Z, right? But there are times when it would be right for other people to step up. And what we're possibly guilty of sometimes is not allowing that to occur because we don't trust. We don't trust other people to get the job done properly. We don't trust other people to do the best job. You know, it's back to that sense of control. Whereas if you realise that there is a place for you amongst a tribe of people, but we all have to allow our different skill sets to shine through. And part of that means that you don't always have to carry the burden, Aries. And even that sometimes standing still is just really nice. Just take in the view. Drink in the air. Enjoy the people that you're with. Even when things are challenging, sometimes it can be good just to take a moment to feel the joy of being alive. Even if it's the absolute opposite of what you want to, of how you're actually feeling. You know, consider the miracle that is your existence. March doesn't look like it has a lot going on, and I think that that's deliberate. I feel like you're not necessarily hermiting, but you're certainly committing to your attention going to the act of healing instead. whether it's your mother or whether it's all of the things that we were talking about before. And this is good. This is really, really good, because this feels like it's preparing you for something. I can't shake that feeling. Because what you're doing is shoring up all of your best relationships, and you're letting the ones that don't meet the grade fall by the wayside. But you've also leveled up spectacularly yourself. Now that doesn't happen just for the sake of it. This is going somewhere. So what I want to say is enjoy the peace while it lasts, Aries, because I think April will be a very, very different kind of energy for you. And it's important that you rest. It's really important that you rest this month and take that however it applies to you. I mean, for some of you that might actually be physical rest. For others of you, take a break of social media, right? No doom scrolling or anything like that. I mean, just be with yourself, because you'll thank yourself for the time that you spent doing that, I think, come April, in birthday month, right? Some of you. I see. Oh yeah, some of you will be March birthdays. Well, happy birthday to you. Right, I'm going to stop waffling because I've been talking for ages here, and I know exactly what this is saying. So I'm going to go over to Vimeo. We're going to look at February specifically, not February, March. We're going to look at March specifically for you. And if you'd like to join me over there, you're very welcome. If not, if you only take one thing away from this reading, it is that you need to rest. Let the angel do her job. Yeah, allow you to do your job, because you're kind of in a state of transition at the moment, Aries, and you've got to allow yourself to rest so that you can be ready to be on your very best fucking form, but with additional wisdom that you've been building up over the last few months, right? This is going to be quite the combination when it's time for you to move, but that's not yet. Alright, so know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.